Hi, thank you for listening to the fourth podcast for freelancing as a photographer. This time I'm gonna be talking about selecting images, which is a whole ritual, and I noticed that different photographers have different priorities while selecting pictures. And the goal is one thing. What are you gonna use the images for? Is it for a campaign? Is it for a website, product photography? Is it for an art exhibit? Is it for a mix of it all? Is it just for you? That's already a filter. What's the goal of your selection? But also I've noticed that even if the goal is the same, different photographers make different choices. I was working together with one other photographer at one event, and a photography event, but it was about fashion. And when we got back, there was a bunch of images from amazing photographer, great location, a professional model. And the image I say like, wow, that one's great. He was like, what? This one? No, I don't like that one. That's too wide angle or too close or whatever. And I like this one more because the light hits the model right in the eyes. And I thought like, yeah, but the hand is crooked. And there was like a whole discussion, and the one I will have chosen to send my client and to put in my portfolio is not the one he will have chosen. And that was really interesting to me, and that's why I'm making this podcast. I will share my process with you on how I select my images and some tools on Lightroom, and I will be very curious of you sharing your process too. I started a forum at floatpalace.com, and there you can comment on your own processes, and I think we can learn from each other. So when selecting images, there are some priorities that you gotta align for yourself, for your long-term visual identity. For example, sharpness is never my priority. Of course, it's important. I like sharpness, but sometimes I intentionally shoot in slow shutter speed, so there is a little bit of movement and it's a little bit more like a painting. So that's not in my priority, but for other people, it will be the number one. If you shoot product photography, for example, people are gonna be zooming in, clicking on a web shop, and they need to see very sharp what the texture is of that fabric or the shoes, I don't know. So yeah, different priorities there. Another I also choose based on emotion. That's my number one. If when I see a picture, what I feel with it, if my heart skips a beat, or if I go that one for sure. And if I cry, that was going to my portfolio. It happens sometimes. I just picture appears, I'm like, wow, this one's just magic. It's also kind of an intuitive process, and I would recommend on first going by intuition through your images and then make a pre-selection. So how I do it on Lightroom, I import the images, and then with the key P, just on your computer keyboard, P means pick of selecting, and I go, okay, pick a bunch of them until I went through all of them, and afterwards I go through them again, and the ones I select, okay, later I had another one which is very similar to this, and I don't really like this one as much as the other. Then I click on U. I press on the keyboard the letter U, which means on select. With that pre-selection, I can work easier. On the right side of Lightroom, in the bottom, there is an option of show me only selected images, and then you have a smaller group of pictures to work with. It just keeps you a bit more focused. You don't have to think about the test, the closed eyes, go forth and back. You only have those already selected, and that's it. Another tool is rating your images. I only use 5 for the ones that I want to add to my portfolio. Or if my client is next to me and they say, okay, this one for sure I want, and then I put 5, and then I know that I have to dedicate a little bit more time to it. 4 for the ones that are good and they will be exported and sent to my client. Another way to categorize your images is by rating. Oh yeah, rating I already said. I mean by colors. There is purple, blue, yellow, and green. I believe also the numbers can, from 6 to 9 will give you different colors, but I still use right click and select which color. For example, the green ones will be the ones for my client, and the blue ones are the ones that I like, that or I took separate from the client's choice. I just was passing by and I took the street shot more for me. Or you can categorize whatever way you want to, but just those are two tools for selection. And while editing, you can also use the letter Y, and then it shows you before and after of an image. So you can see the raw and what you have worked on it. You can also create a virtual copy. So you right click on the image, create virtual copy, and then you can do 2 different edits to the same raw. And afterwards, export and give your client the choice of using either the warmer option, the colder option, or simply for you to figure out which one feels better. Sometimes people like to select immediately because it's fresh and then it's done. They still remember the emotion of shooting it. And others rather take a few days, or at least one day, to have some distance from the photo shoot and detach from that emotion, that adrenaline, and see them from a more critical point of view. So that's also up to you. I generally make a backup immediately, but I don't look at it immediately because after a long day of shoot, usually I only have time for the backup. But next day, and it will still feel very fresh to me. Another struggle I've seen is like, okay, picture in black and white or in color, and I think that depends. If it's with a client, you have to agree, because black and white is kind of a sensitive thing. Even in personal work, some will say, oh, why black and white? Like, because it's an artistic choice, because I chose to focus on shape more than in color. That's a black and white thing, or in light and shadow more than even shape or color. But yeah, sometimes on Facebook I see people asking which one. And another question that could help you choose is which one would you actually print and frame and put on your living room. I have a friend that I admire a lot for his work once said that, like, would you print this picture, or otherwise why would you even take it? Might be a good filter. And when, let's say, how do you know what a good image is? Well, of course, little things like, is it too light or too dark? A lot of it is matter of taste, but once we are over what the goal is, say, if there is a person, how I choose which one is better is if the hands and feet are good. Because imagine if there is a human right in front of the camera and in a chair sitting, looking right to the camera. The knees are gonna look super, super short. It will look like just one tiny leg, two tiny legs, because of the angle. So if you turn your model a little bit to the right or to the left, with some kind of angle, you will see the full leg. And if you put the hands, which hands are the most important also in paintings, if everything is great but the hands are fucked, it's not gonna work. Hands have to be most fingers shown and not super tense, not in a fist either, because I will show that the person is stressed. Kind of a natural fall. If you say, like, okay, put your arms up and I'll let it fall, the way the fingers fall, that then there is the most natural option. And then just separate the arms a little bit from the body, so you get more of the human silhouette and not just one block of meat. And turning around the hands, of course, like look at books of paintings and observe the hands for a while, and if you get those right, a lot in the picture will more likely to right. Hands, legs. And yeah, after that is like a general feeling for me, the priority. What do I feel when I look at this picture? Because of the, even if it's too dark, but and I just see one feet running, whatever, that emotion is like kind of an intuition. And afterwards think on the second round that you give through them. Okay, the light here is too much, but I could fix it too. So that's another layer. When you select the images, think of not what they are now, but what they could be, because you could crop them. If you think it's too far, just crop them, and then it's okay, it's accessible. So that, yeah, cropping will make you lose some information, blah blah. But now the cameras are so good that a little bit of cropping for web use is not gonna hurt anything. Yes, so I think I have mentioned most of the things. I wanted to say some Lightroom tools, how I select images, the goal, if it's for a fine art print exhibit, or for a commercial, or for a magazine, or for what are they for? It's an important filter. Will you frame it? Will you put it on your portfolio? What are keywords? That's an important one too. I ask my clients for keywords only, always before the shoot. Like, what do you want your visitors to feel when they look at this image? Do you want to, if it's portraits for a coach website, for example, I say, would you like to be perceived more as friendly or professional? Or, and someone say friendly, then I choose more one where they are laughing or walking and turning away, more playful. Or if I want more serious professional, if they are, for example, but I don't want to make stereotypes, but like just ask for keywords, and the more make a mix of those keywords when you are selecting, keep those in mind, and then more likely that your client and you will be happy and get good results. And even if it's a free shoot, just keep your own keywords. Okay, I want like darkness, or I want keywords help you to while creating and later while selecting. Okay, so I'm curious also about your ways. So on this forum that I created at flowpalace.com, please share your processes of selecting images, and see you next time.